It's almost like the iceberg at the top is the pain, you know that you physically lost something, and then there's this just huge lump beneath that you haven't dealt with underwater.
No two grieving people are the same. Every single person grieves differently, but they do grieve.
It sounds really cliche, but I never ever believed in being heartbroken.
I didn't think I would feel the kind of full-on grief and shock that I felt. A grief that can be quite hard to understand because particularly when it's an early loss, it's not somebody you know or that you've met, but you still feel that same grief. You're not sure whether you're allowed to feel as low and upset as you do, and you think, is this just me? Am I overreacting?
I kind of felt like I was the only one, and I felt like I was really isolated in my failings and in my grief.
The worst thing is somebody saying nothing. There should be no shame in the grieving process.
I think that's the thing with grief. It affects you in a way that you can't anticipate. And sometimes the most innocuous thing will suddenly have you crying. And then something that you think is going to be really difficult actually is fine. And the balance slowly shifts.
I certainly felt very angry. And part of that anger was that there was no one that could explain why this was happening. And I think for me and for a lot of men that I've spoken to, having an understanding of why something has happened really enables you to process it and accept it.
I think like most women, we have these hopes and these expectations of the kind of parent that we're going to be. And that was my first experience of it, and I'd failed. I'd failed me, I'd failed my husband, I'd failed the baby. And all those hopes and dreams that you have for that child and the life that you're going to have, they just vanish.
Some people don't really see babies as a baby until they're born, whereas I think as a parent, like you knew them from when you saw those two lions.
To me, she did exist. You know, she's a part of me. It's not something that I'm ever going to forget.
Giving yourself time is the best thing. Allowing those feelings and those emotions is so important because it's all part of just learning to cope with it, really.